here have some practice about scanning practice over there. All procedures over, and we will have a final testing there, and come back here, and the farewell party on Friday. And Saturday morning, in here, I will show you who is the winner of this program. Maybe 3 or 4 persons can get a chance to get a prize, and we will prepare some certificates from our facility and university and from the factory. So when you go back, you can carry 3 kinds of certification if you well done in final examination. Understand? So good luck to you. So from now on, I'd like to talk about the mixed emission space analysis. You remember molar destabilization of flyers. We call it MDA2. But this one is mixed emission space analysis. So someone said that MDA stands for this one. When we talk about appliance, the molar destabilization of flyers, just about the analysis, MDA means mixed emission space analysis. In this class, the most important thing was D-way space. That is basic concept. So there is 4 kinds of mixed emission analysis. But yes, there is nothing exact one. But useful one is my recommendation is then. Yes, this kind of or Moyer is more useful. So this is the principle of this kind of analysis program. And for example, Moyer system, non-radiographic space analysis. That means if we don't have any X-ray for patients, we can do. But these 2 kind of program have to radiographic analysis. So I dropped the names here. So finally, we will do today Moyer's system. In the textbook, maybe you can learn about this kind of system. So this is the meaning of the mixed emission analysis. You can read in your book. So not important here. And another one. This kind of concept is very important. One is the required space. The other one is the available space. Who can explain this kind of concept? One is knowing, and the other one, another one is we don't know. Which one is knowing and which one is not knowing? You can calculate available space, right? You have to imagine required space. Understand? So available space means in the mixed dentition or in the mouth of patient. Now, how many space can you use? Requirement space means for permanent tooth. How many space have to be? So, if we know about this kind of gap, then we can guess what kind of appliance is better when we have to engage to control the problem. So this is the main concept. That's why I told you lens is better, but lens suggests this kind of concept. You already know what is that, right? This is the leeway space. Because the first case of primary case, who is it, or which one is eruption in the mouth, is a lower mandibular case, right? Maybe 90% lower mandibular incisor will be the first case in the mouth. That means the first case of permanent who comes from permanent mouth will be the mandibular incisors. And the other one, you remember the congenital missing? So congenital missing has some rules. Number one, molar 3, third molar will be the most. The second one, second premolar will be low. So finally, incisors will be, especially lateral incisor. But when you're talking about the lower 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, who is more possible to congenital missing? Which one is? Upper is more possible. That means some patients have the 3 incisor, but this kind of teeth, some lots of case of pegolatalis, they have some problem of shape or with this. But in the lower, it is a little bit rarer than upper. So that's why we use this kind of teeth. And then after replacing 8 teeth, there are some gap, among 18 months or 2 years gap between their changing molar areas. So that kind of period, we call it mixed dentition period. Maybe from 4A to 6 or 7 or 9, we call it mixed dentition. Mixed dentition means primary teeth and permanent teeth at the same time in the mouth, right? So this kind of season, maybe you remember the growth pattern over here. For here, 10 centimeters, but this is in years. They are growth up and down. This comes from 9 to 15 or 12 or 15, right? So mixed dentition, almost location this area. That's why we need the mixed dentition space analysis is needed. If we think that too many space may be needed in the future, we have to do something in here. And before the maxillary growth closely, we can do something, maxillary expansion or whatever. That's why we need mixed dentition analysis is here. So in that case, this kind of concept is very important. I already told you this kind of tool. Yes, some researchers said another numbers, but this is most popular number. In the mandibular, each side 1.7 millimeters. That means both sides 3.4 millimeters. In the maxillary, just both sides 1.8 millimeters is we call it leeway space. So here's another important concept. Let me see. You remember what I said? Late ledger shifts. There, yes, normally, I told you the eruption path of maxillary from initially to the changing when the opening in the mouth, they are changing the mouth ledger. But in lower, they are start to ledgerly but changing distally. Usually, the relationship of primary to teeth, what can we say? Do you remember this kind of word? Crush, terminal, end. Some patients, if they are right there, we call it major step, right? Another patients have some sense, right? Second molar E is here. We call it distal step. This is the 3 kind of very similar concept of press 1, 2, 3, but that is for permanent tooth. But when we code about the relationship of primary molar, we code this kind of. You never heard about this? Flush terminal end, major step, distal step. If you have to know this kind of concept, then I can explain major shift. Is it the first time? Professor? PM. This is first concept.
No, they already
know. Right.
already know about it. You remember? You learn about tận cùng của răng sữa nhớ không nào? Flush, mesio, and distal. You already learned before in the last semester.
Okay. Anyway, I start explain again. When you're talking about the relationship primary teeth, the most population is such as plus terminal, right? But if mandibular is the second premolar located right there, then their distal end is such as that. They are majorly located there. These patients, if we change it automatically, that means class 3, right? Will be. So normally, first coming up, they can be class 1 or class 3, right? But how about this one? Class 2 is possible? No, because the mandibular will be moved majorly, automatically. And if they are here, that means major step of primary teeth. There is more easier class 3 because after eruption permanent tooth, they are moving majorly. But whatever, this can be class 2, absolutely hard, right? The molar will be closed. But what about the distal cell? If they are located like that, E, that means, and the distal cell easy to go to class 2, right? They can be hardly class 1, right? They are moving. This is the relationship of primary molar relationship, but normally they have some spaces here. What is that? Leeway space. You remember how much it is? 0.9 only. Here, 1.7. That means automatically they are coming up to class 1 relationship automatically. But remember, I show you the lingual arch, another function. If someone has some problem of anterior tooth like that, when the molar is still survive, E, if we use the lingual arch here, that is traction. So we control the stop of the major movement of molar. What happened then? The space of leeway space, they can use to arrange the anterior tooth. That kind of concept, we have brought the major shift of molar. But for living, you will have two chances of major shift. One is primary, early major shift. The other one is the late major shift. In this age, around 6 or 7, this kind of thing, they are shifting using leeway space. We call it late major shift. So this kind of ages, around 6 from the 9 or 10, if you use the handle, this kind of space, you can control over mandibular anterior crowding, can resolve it. But the late major shift will not happen. And then plus terminal will be changed class 1 or mild class 2 relationship because they are stopping the movement. This kind of relationship we call it class 2 or mild class 2 relationship, right? For the permanent teeth. So when you think about using to resolve the problem of anterior crowding, using a lingual arch, you have to think about the molar relationship too. That is the late major shift. This is the concept of from first terminal end to major step. That's why the relationship of eruption is like that. And the plus, leeway space is different. Upper is just 0.9, lower is almost 1.7. And anyway, today my choice is Moyer's analysis. That's why here is the answer. Why we use the mandibular incisor? I already told you. There is no. The number one is the passive eruption permanent. That means easy to see in the mouth from 5.5 to around here. And easier to measure. You can just measure opening the mouth or take impression is more easier than upper. Then why not maxillary? Because I already told you they have paralateralis and congenital missing is more open in the maxilla than mandibular. That's why we choose when we analyzing mandibular incisors, you can have to remember this kind of concept. And this is some table. Maybe you know about this probability chart. How can we imagine about the required space? Here, there are some concepts. Based on the principle, the size has some relationship between. That means if anterior tooth size is such as x7, just for example, primary tooth will be 7.5 and molar will be 8 or 12, whatever. This called we are probability chart. So there's too many chart, the possibility from the 50% to 100%, but normally we use 75% probability chart we'll use here. So you have to measure the anterior 4 teeth. The result was 20.5. Then you can find here probability chart is 75. That means permanent tooth will be 20.7. This kind of concept is Moyer's analysis. Very easy. Just you know about the width of anterior 4 teeth, then you can guess about the permanent premolar CDE 5, 4, 5, 6. You can imagine. So from now on, this is some chart. In the graph, you will use 75% line. Okay? Then the upper area is just for this is the result of 3 plus 4 plus 5 sides. If you know about 4 anterior sides here, you can miss here. This is how to find the size over here. So let me see. From maxilla, possibility will be 75. So if we are, anyway, so in the model, we are calculated the size for teeth of 4 mandibular incisors. The result was 23. Then, can you find what size from in your book, baby? It's hard to see. Too small? 20?
22.
Right, you can follow me. That means maxillary required space will be 22.6 millimeter, right? Then, how about mandibular? And okay. Mandibular is the same. In table you can find it. The other one, then finally we have to know about the available space here. There is 2 kind of way or 3 kind of way how can we measure the available space, but I just recommended you just one way is better. Which one is nothing? No problem. Just 75% we can get. So there's some difference. It's okay. But first time I use this kind of measurement. Second time sectional measurement is not so good. If you choose first sectional method, you have to use for all day. And if you use surrounding all measures, yes, you have to use it all day. So I just introduced this kind of how can you make available space? It's just a little bit concept. I will introduce. This is some kind of concept. You can measure from here to here, right? In this model, there is no crowding, but someone has some crowding right there. In that case, we can use this kind of concept. Number one, it's very easy because first insiders, there is no possibility, not no, but almost no congenital missing. I do have the congenital missing, but this is always be there. Then you can get here and check again. Sorry. Check again, and you can plus mix together. Then use compass. So total, for example, the total length is right there. Then you have to start here, look like that. Then you can meet some point here. From here to end, you can measure it. Right? This is the concept of this one. Oh, yeah, right there. Here, equal plus 1 is, sorry, then you have to start from here. For the posterior teeth. This is some kind of a sectional measurement system. But someday, if you forgot this kind of concept, don't worry. Just using it. Very easy way. 1, 2. No problem. Because we are using possibility 75%. Just a small difference is okay. But just always the same method you have to using it. If you choose this kind of concept, you have to follow them. The second day, the same way is okay. We call it available space in the mixed direction analysis. Then, after measuring, this is, I said, another concept. This is more simple. You don't worry about just sectional. That's all. But always the one kind of method you have to choose. Don't use mixed. For example, lower you use first way, upper you use second no. The same method have to use it. This is another way. Just the flexible rulers from here to here, it's okay. Understand? So when you calculate this is vernier caliper. Someone said from the contact point is important because mostly contact from here to here contact point is most wider areas, right? But sometimes it's hard to code of test. There is no space. There are some gap in here. No problem. Just the same way is okay. You can calculate right there, calculate right there, right there, right there. Don't worry about the small difference. Then you can see the chart in here. Let's follow. That means finally, sorry. Anyway, the plus minus is very important. If the required arch length minus available mark length. The result is plus. What does that mean? Need space. The order is very important. From requirement space, available space. We can measure it, right? We can get from the probability chart, right? After measure O from requirement minus available, and the result was plus means we need space. That means make some space for future, right? So this is the order how to get some final result here. In the end, I will show you step by step. Then we can calculate together. Maybe I guess I changed it, right? And this is the chart in our pediatric dentistry that I'm using that. When I was intern, 1997, I show you some photo in here. I made this kind of a chart. This is some mixed, here's probably chart. I frame here, very simple. Okay, if you use like that, yes, over 25 years we are using this kind of concept. Anyway, just this one is in here. In the maxillary, total requirement space 75, and available space was 76. That means 74 minus 76 to 33 means plus 2.2. What is the meaning? Need some space. That means narrow maxillary arch now. So we need features about 2 millimeters. So you can guess maxillary extension, the maximum is 4 or 5 millimeters. Yes, we can resolve it with just maxillary extension. But how about the roll? Requirement space is 68.5. Available space is 72.64. The result was minus 4, right? That means their spacing, yes. We need to close the spacing. So in this case, if this case mixed dentition, rate measure shift if we are using, it can resolve automatically. So when I make this kind of a chart, here, plus means need space, right? Then this is incorrect. They have to 2.2, right? Here, they have to minus 4.1. But my resident didn't recognize this mistake. So they are all using minus plus. But it's easy sometimes. Minus means need space, just automatically. Plus means remains space. So anyway, oh my God. What's the matter? Anyway, you have to remember this one. From requirement space minus available space, plus means need space, right? Don't think about this. So another way is Tanaka Johnson, and I didn't like to explain about this one. You can learn in the textbook, the Excel tool. Let me see from, if just stop 4 minutes, 5 minutes later, I will start again. Maybe another guys will like here. So just take a break for 5 minutes. 그거 이 안에다가 세팅할까요? Any question? Is this correct? means crossbite and their spacing, right? Correct. Crossbite means so how can we express crossbite? Centimeter tap the terminology. Cắn. Could you translate correct word and send me with yellow? Cắn. Right there. Crossbite and spacing. Write me, please. Cắn nhừng.
홍차 좀 해가지고 넣어서
rồi các em yêu cầu gì thầy cho nó gì không là quên hết rồi phân tích khoảng bộ bạn hỗn hợp sợ xem là bài kém hay là để nhổ đó đo đúng không học thì lớp sao thì dùng cái dây để đo không trong cách gần xa của bạn răng không chưa học à nhưng mà
Phone. Please text me full word. Phone. When you
Thầy kêu ghi cái
send
tờ
me
đó.
over from here.
răng cửa bên phải là nghiêng ra nghĩa là cái từ này á,
Cắn
Nhân nói
nữa.
là
Cắn nữa.
cắn được và có cái hở
Cắn nữa.
hiểu không cắn được và có cái hở vừa cắn được vừa thu vừa sẵn đi im lem thì sẽ im lem mà đi im lem cũng được làm im lem mình sẽ có cái bài sẽ có giấy chứng nhận thì mình kể chứng nhận là mình để mang ra sắp tới là